The devil's on the loose and he's dancing with the mummy.
Deep from the bowels of the Macabre Theater Laboratory, we bring you Macabre Cast. There is nothing wrong with your streaming service. You are exactly where you should be, where the slush puppy machine is always on and cold. Your favorite horror mag is on the rack, discreetly displayed between Women's Wear Daily and Cosmopolitan. I'm your host, Dark Mark, along with my mold-riddled counterpart, Karis, the Little Mummy, here to bring you the latest episode of Macabre Cast, where we'll be dropping ours where they belong and adding them where they don't. This is a safe space for those of us who were able to stay occupied for hours at a time as a child with nothing more than a slinky. Newbies welcome, regulars welcome back, and worsifers get out of here. Oh. Like, share, follow, and subscribe to my show on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and when I'm not violating infantile community standard rules, TikTok. Tell your friends to do the same, even that guy who used ChatGPT to help him find a nice way to tell his boss to stick it. Yeah, that guy. If you wish to interact with fellow Monster Kids or even the Drac Pack Elite, follow the Facebook page Macabre Theater. It's there where you can send me a voice message through Messenger and participate in this show. A link can be found in the description of this episode. Or, if you prefer, send me an email at macabretheater666@gmail.com. Macabrecast episode 161 and all of its gory glory begins now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Adoro il cast macabro.
The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, The Last House on the Left, The Exorcist, Jaws, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Omen, Suspiria, Halloween, Alien. And that's just a drop in the bucket. The 1970s, arguably the best decade of horror. While most people scream the 80s, the 70s had a dark take, especially in the film endings, more than any other decade to come after it. Deep real-world cultural trauma, coupled with widespread public cynicism, more than likely helped shape the bleak nihilistic endings that usually followed horror movies during this decade. The Vietnam War and political turmoil like Watergate corroded the public's trust in authority. The world was witnessing that evil isn't always defeated. The filmmakers were projecting those themes in their art. In 1968, the Motion Picture Association of America replaced its strict production code that stated good was required to triumph over evil. The new code gave directors freedom to explore much darker themes.
Yeah, who doesn't like a good old-fashioned everybody dies ending?
All I'm saying, Karis, is that the 1970s audiences weren't guaranteed that the monster would not win.
So, Doc, you know how the church is always looking for donations?
Yeah, they always want you to give. Give.
Well, the church is having a baptismal pool built, and they were going around door to door asking for donations to make this pool.
Did you give them anything?
I sure did. I gave them a bucket of water and said, this should get that going.
And on that note, it's time for horror news. In Search of Darkness, the 1970s is available for pre-order until July 1st. Lindsay Anderson Beer is planning to write and direct the reimaging of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Ari Aster has written a prequel to Hereditary, but is in no rush to make it. a haunted house that takes you into the world of the vampire film Sinners, will be at Universal Halloween Horror Nights this year. And that's it for horror news. And Draven agrees. Draven the blood-vomiting bat. Children of the night, what messes they make. As you know, Monster Kids, every week I bring you the latest episode of Macabrecast. The only week that there is no show is the week that I fly out to Monster Island, and that will remain the same this August. But I unfortunately have to report that there will be no show June 23rd, as I will be traveling with Blizzard of Oz to some out-of-state shows. And therefore, there will be no way for me to get a show together in such a short amount of time. So, I apologize ahead of time, but again, there will be no Macabrecast on June 23rd, but we will be returning on June 30th. Thank you.
Horror chap Matt knows all about monsters. He said they were coming to get me tonight.
Hey, Doc Mark, Lil Cars, and all the Monster Kids hang out at the theater. Backed by somewhat popular demand weekly, it's Horror Chat Matt. So, Doc, your topic this week, what are some of your favorite 70s horror movies, thanks to the new announcement of In Search of Darkness, 1970s? I have to say, I really do enjoy In Search of Darkness. I'm about 4 hours into the last one that just came out. I think it's 1995 to 1999. But it's 6 hours long, so you will invest some time in these things, and I think it's worth it. But getting back to the topic, some of my favorites from the 1970s, I always consider Alien a horror movie. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Crazies, Dawn of the Dead, Exorcist, Halloween, Bay of Blood, The Omen, Black Christmas, Phantasm, and then, of course, my favorite movie from any decade of all time is Jaws. And then that's about it. I will say this. You really should check out Shutter Island. It was a pretty decent book and an excellent movie. I think you will enjoy it. As always, make mine Macabrecast.
Starting to feel boxed in? The Shutter Islanders are teaming up on you now.
Yeah, the In Search of Darkness documentaries are fantastic. They are very long, though. I myself am also well deep into the middle of that 1990s one that's on Shudder presently, that just dropped not long ago on Shudder. Great 70s picks as always, and you know, it never hurts to pay homage to the 70s because it's such a great era of film. And there's always something to talk about. Always wonderful hearing from you, Horror Chat Matt, and we hope to hear from you again soon. In August of 1969 came the Manson family murders, where Charlie Manson orchestrated his hippie family to carry out the vile butchery of Sharon Tate and 4 of her friends. This forever changed the 1960s counterculture with a violent and vulgar end, altering the 1970s in many ways. For one, the mainstream public's view of the hippie movement was pulverized. The hippie lifestyle of peace, love, and communal living became associated with fear and danger, cults, and drugs, a moral decay of the American youth. The Manson trial was sensationalized, and Manson's strange apocalyptic theories got the attention he was looking for. The prosecutor, Vincent Bugliosi, published the book Helter Skelter in 1974, which became the best-selling true crime book in history. High inflation and stagnant economic growth, along with the oil embargo, crippled the economy, putting anxiety levels of the people through the roof. In Hollywood, with the removal of the movie code called Hays, that forced filmmakers into always showing good triumph over evil. Now they had the freedom to project these fears in the not-so-happy endings. Tobe Hooper brought us the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, implying that we don't really know who our neighbors are or what they might actually be cooking in that big pot on the stove. Sure, Sally survived and got away with her life, I guess, but the trauma she probably carried forward, she was probably never right or okay ever again. Some would say, hey Doc, The Exorcist didn't have a bleak ending. Good won over evil. Did it though? They didn't even exorcise this demon out of Regan. The demon killed Marin, and Karis the priest challenged it to come into him. So yeah, it left the little girl, but it got what it wanted all along, to possess a priest. And then there's its official sequel, Legion. Don't even get me started.
You are listening to Dark Marks Macabre Cast, episode 161, 1970s Horror.
Hi, Monster Kids. Elijah Broke here. I'm the guy who operates the elevator to the pit of hell. I'm the last guy you see after you fudge up the Macabre Cast horror trivia. Anyhow, that's neither here nor there. Did you ever ask yourself, how can I help Doc Mark? Well, if you listen to this on YouTube, like the video, and please hype the video. If you listen to it on Apple Podcast, give Doc Mark a 5-star review. These simple things will help win the battle of the algorithm. Your support is deeply appreciated.
Is this something you can share with the rest of us, Amazing Larry?
Greetings, Dark Mark and Karis the Little Mummy. Scary Larry here, submitting this by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Let's go. To answer your question, Mark, what Dean Koontz novel would I like to see made into a movie? It would be a remake to start. I saw Watchers with Corey Haim and Michael Ironside on cable and thought, meh. Years after I discovered Dean Koontz books, I actually read the novel and had absolutely nothing to do with the movie. The book was great, movie. Actually, Watchers 2 was closer to the book, but still a huge miss. So I'd like to say Prime do a thing like Dean Koontz Presents and have an entire season be the actual book. Just let it take an entire season, flesh out the whole novel. Then, from there, make that an annual thing, or a seasonal thing. Subsequent seasons could be the Frankenstein series he wrote, or Intensity, although the made-for-TV two-parter was excellent in its own right. Further, I'd love to see The Bad Place, Dragon Tears, or even a continuation of Odd Thomas, even though we lost a star, Anton Yelchin. Jeez. Horror of the 70s. Well, like a mosquito at a nudist colony, I don't know where to begin. So in no particular order. Exorcist, Halloween, Dawn of the Dead, Alien, Jaws, Amityville Horror are just a few off the top of my head for 70s horror. So I caught 2 of the YouTube-inspired horror movies currently in theaters. First, I saw Passenger. It was okay. My brain tends to overthink on movies, and I could not wrap my head around a couple of Gen Zers being able to afford a New York City apartment that had about as much square footage as my entire house, and then sell that and be able to buy a modified Mercedes Sprinter van to quit everything and just live the van life. Beyond that, the concept was good. I would classify this as folk horror, where there's an old code called the Hobo Code, and it deals with traveling across the country. I'll leave it at that. 2.5 out of 4 stars. Next was Obsession. This score is much higher at a 3.5 out of 4 stars. A great be careful what you wish for. Although I found the main character extremely annoying in his constant whining, the main female stole the entire movie. Baron, or Bear, is deeply in love with Nikki, a co-worker and friend from school. Now, he is too weak to tell her his true feelings, but when he learns she lost a necklace down a drain, he thinks it's a good opportunity to impress her by buying a replacement. While looking for the necklace in a novelty head shop, he is drawn to a package called a one-wish willow. You make a wish and you break this willow branch, and the wish comes true. Naturally, he wishes Nikki would love him more than anyone or anything in the world. He gets his wish, and a lot more than he bargained for, when she becomes insanely obsessed with him. He soon cannot take her relentless obsession with him and learns two things. One, she'll stop at nothing to be near him. And two, there's only one known way to reverse the wish, but he's not sure he can make the tough decision. Both are good in their own way, but neither are must-see at the theater, so make your own decision there.
I never saw Watchers, the Dean Koontz story turned into, as you say, a pretty bad film. And the book that I read, that I had said that I had at least read one, was Dragon Tears, which I heard you mention. Great picks for your 1970s films. Such a great era. I just, we've now got In Search of Darkness, focusing completely just on the 1970s. Will be coming out this year. And, just in honor of that, I just wanted to, again, kind of tip the scale toward the 1970s, reminisce, and talk a little bit about it on this episode. And it's funny that you say about Passenger, which so far everyone's saying is a great movie, but how you overthink it and you're basing it on, people's income in the film and their age. They used to say that about these shows like Friends and all this stuff where they have these apartments that nobody could, in their right mind at that age, afford. Obsession, I am hoping to see it as we speak. I'm hoping to see it this upcoming weekend. I don't know. These movies come and go from theaters so fast. Maybe it will be back rooms. Who knows? But I'm hearing so much good about Obsession. I would like to get out and see that. And a lot of praise for the young lady who plays the girlfriend in that film. Always great to hear from you, Scary Larry. Keep seeing him, so we just don't have to.
Do you want to participate in Dark Mark's Macabre cast? But you don't want to send a voice message? Maybe you don't like the sound of your own voice, or you're shy. Send Dark an email. He can read your thoughts on the show. Your opinion matters. Send Dark an email at macabretheater666@gmail.com.
The 1970s. Unconventional plots, hallucinatory atmospheres, all-around bizarre premises that tip the traditional genre tropes on their head. A time where cinema took you trick-or-treating in a suburban neighborhood that, on the surface, screamed Americana, yet something very unnerving hid just off within the shadows. Or where the embodiment of evil thrived in a heavily customized 1971 Lincoln Continental Mark III that raced through a desert town in Utah, mowing down anyone in its path. Maybe, just maybe, a witch's coven hidden within a ballet school for girls. All this would become brighter and more politically correct in the 1980s. And trust me, that's not a slam to the 80s. I love horror in the 80s, but the closest we ever come to the darkness of the 70s horror cinema was probably in the late 90s, with the likes of films like Seven, Fallen, Dark City, Lost Highway, and Natural Born Killers. But yet, that actual look of dread was gone.
Way cool. It's Chicago Tina. Hey, Doc Mark and Karis, the little mummy, and all you guys out there in Monsterland. To start off with, I'd like to say that, of course, you know me, my favorite decade for horror films was the 70s. And that's where it all started with me. And the 70s had a special vibe that I've never seen repeated. There was something about those movies that were authentic and just, they had a vibe. But with that being said, I went to the movies last night and I saw the new generation, the new decade of favorite movies, and that would be this decade. And it's mostly attributed to A24 because I haven't seen anything bad from them in a long time. And I got to tell you, that movie Backrooms blew my mind. I can't stop thinking about it. I agree with everything that Grim Kim said last week, and I would love to sit down and talk to her about all the details. I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody, but I'll just say this. It appealed to me mostly because I'm a lucid dreamer, and the thing that scares me about in horror movies is basically if everything seems normal, but something is just off, and there's like a thread there, and you could pull it, and that's the way I dream too, you know, like I'll realize, hey, this is a dream, and then all of a sudden I'll try to change things, or I'll notice things are even more distorted in the dream, and then I usually wake up because I scare myself. But anyway, that's not what the movie's about at all. The movie, I just cannot believe was made by a 20-year-old. That blows my mind, and I'm trying to push my daughter now out of the nest. I'm like, go do that. But it was just a great movie, and the only way I could describe it, I guess, is if you tried to describe a dog to somebody and then ask them, who's never seen one, and then ask them to draw it. That's from the movie anyway, so. But everything about that movie was just really strange. And I thought it was about video games when I went into it, because I'm a person who played a lot of Xbox back in the day, and I would always start a video game and finish it, and sometimes you get bored in the middle and you start messing around with the characters, and sometimes they'll go through a wall. I'm not going to talk about this movie. Just go see it. I recommend it highly. But go see it with an open mind. Don't think about what it could be about, because a lot of people have different opinions about what it's about, and a lot of people hated it. But I'm one of the people that loved it, and that's all I can say. So I hope you guys see a lot of great movies this week, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Hopefully I go to another movie, which I am planning on going to see the next A24 movie, but I won't tell you what it is yet. I'll be talking to you soon. See you later.
Wow. She never once mentioned Shutter Island.
No, Karis, but you just did. Chicago Tina, it is hard not to notice how much you and Grim Kim have in common when it comes to movies. You guys always seem to like a lot of the same movies. Much as you and I. But we do go our different ways a lot. And Grim Kim and I go our different ways. But Grim Kim is like queen of the 70s. She loves a lot of the 70s movies. And a lot of times we do see eye to eye. But you guys are right on. You always seem to very much like the same things. And again, it brings up the diversity of this film. It seems like people either love it or hate it, or are just completely confused by it. This is all making me want to see the movie even more. This was the film I wanted to see less than Obsession. And then the more I keep hearing about it, I want to know where I stand with Backrooms. I'm wondering where I would be. And who really cares? And I just wanted to tip my hat this week to the 70s. But now you've gone on with Backrooms so much. And like I said, I'm back and forth. So who knows? And I may not even have a choice, because again, these movies come and go so quickly from the theater. It's really sad. But eventually I'll see both films. And always great hearing from you, Chicago Tina, and we hope to hear from you again real soon. Welcome to Cobwebbed Classics, where I dust off a lost, forgotten, or just plain unappreciated film and introduce it to, or maybe just remind you about it, so your spooky Saturday night might run a little creepier. This week's Cobwebbed Classic is 1976's Eaten Alive, directed by Tobe Hooper, starring Neville Brand, Mel Ferrier, Carolyn Morticia Jones, survivor Sally from the OG Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Marilyn Burns, and 2 years before her appearance as little Lindsay Wallace in Halloween, Kylie Richards. And 9 years before he would construct the dreaded finger knives glove, Freddy Krueger himself, Robert Englund, as Buck, who, according to this character, loves to Eaten Alive was Tobe Hooper's follow-up to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I think he found it hard to fill his own shoes, because where most of this picture's production design is heavily in fog and colored lights, on a soundstage at times is nightmarish and surreal, while other times takes you right out of the picture. Hooper does what he does best, but poor writing, poor dialogue, and poor character motivation weaken the film's impact. Even though one of its writers is Kim Hinkle, who wrote the OG Chainsaw. This doesn't surprise me, however, knowing that Hinkle wrote the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, The Next Generation, which also suffered from these problems. Now, before you get the idea that I don't like Eaten Alive, I actually like this film a lot. Neville Brand plays Judd, a deranged proprietor of the Starlight Hotel, who happens to have a pet crocodile, the very way he disposes of the evidence of his victims. A quarrelsome couple and their daughter and family dog come to rent a room. Marilyn Burns plays the wife and Kylie Richards as the daughter. Judd kills the husband, ties up the wife, and periodically fondles her throughout the film while the daughter is trapped under the floorboards of the hotel. The family of a missing prostitute come looking for their daughter, involve the sheriff, and the croc has more to eat than he bargained for. This film is loosely based on the true story of Joe Ball, who owned a bar with a live alligator attraction in the 1930s in Texas. During this time, several women disappeared in his company, and legend has it that he disposed of them via alligator. This was never proven, and Joe Ball committed suicide at his bar in 1938 when he was about to be arrested for the murders. Taglines for this gem are as follows.
Pray it isn't true. Welcome to Starlight Hotel. Your room is reserved. Check in, but never check out.
1976's Eaten Alive is this week's
Cobwebbed Classics.
You are listening to Dark Marks Macabre Cast, episode 161, 1970s horror.
The following program is rated TV MALV. It contains strong language and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Metal Melody.
Ho ho! Strap yourselves in, girls. Melody is the M in TV MLV. And the constant swearing. Can you even stand it? My nerves are crushed.
Hello, Doc Mark, Cara's Little Mummy, and all the Macabre Cast fans listening. It's Metal Melody checking in for episode 161. Hello, everybody. So, I don't have very much to say this week because I have not seen anything new. I've just been watching some older horror movies that are in my lineup that I watch all the time. I can't even tell you probably how many times a year I watch Jaws. Mark, on episode 160, you were saying how you were surprised that I didn't like Obsession. It's not that I didn't like Obsession. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was a good movie. It was okay. I don't think it's any. I think the hype was not worth the movie. Let's put it that way. And whoever that female actress was just great. She did really good, which I had said prior. I'm sticking to Backrooms. It just weird. It didn't really go anywhere for me. I think it's funny that me and Kim have totally different opinions of that movie, but then again, many people do. I know that she likes those type of psychological, in your mind movies from some that she has mentioned in the past. So I'm not surprised that she enjoyed that. Me, on the other hand, I do like some of them, but that one I just couldn't. I'm sorry, I couldn't. I thought it wasn't even scary at all. It was weird. It didn't make sense to me, and yeah, that's it. Like I said, 2.5. Passenger, I think, was the best out of all of them. I would give Passenger like 3.5, 3.75. As far as the 1970s, the topic for this week for 1970 best movies, oh, holy shit. There are so many, I can't even count them all. But to name a couple off, we'll start with Jaws, of course. The Exorcist, oh my gosh, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw, Carrie, The Omen, Legend of the Hell House, Black Christmas, Salem's Lot, Phantasm, The Hills Have Eyes, which still creeps me out, man. I friggin' love that one. Well, I love them all, but yeah, those are some great movies from the 70s. Absolutely, that I really enjoy and I watch over many times through the year. And I would like to say that I agree with what you and Horror Chat Matt were saying about the movies being new, that people are going out. I totally agree with that. You see different movies like that and you're like, oh wow, like this is different. And most of them look good in their previews. So more people going out instead of when you have like Scream, 254, like people aren't as, motivated to go out and see it as they are something new. And like I had said before, the last 5 years we've had some really, really good new movies. Like I said, Talk to Me. What was the other one? Tarot, I thought was really good. And more recently, The Passenger, Backrooms, and Obsession. But those people are still going to be going out to see Scream 254. We all are. But I totally get why they're making so much money, because people are very interested because they're so different. We need different shit. And we don't want the same stuff recycled over and over and over again. I mean, yeah, we watch it, but most of us will wait till it streams because, it's the same thing over and over. Like I said, seeing something different, though, however, is really cool and very appealing to people. And I think that's why they run out to the movies to see them. I'm very interested in hearing other people's reviews on Backrooms and Obsession. So if Scary Larry, Horror Chat Matt, if Grim has seen Obsession yet, who else? Anybody, Monster Maria, Tina, Chicago Tina. I really like to hear what their thoughts are. Anyway, that's it for now until episode 162. I hope everybody is staying nice and cool in this frickin' thick, disgusting humidity we're having that you can't even breathe in. I'm sick of this shit. Let's let's get some breathable air. Like, be hot, but don't be humid, please. It's just sucks. Makes you feel listless and not wanting to do anything, unless your ass is at the beach. But other than that, no tanko. So everybody have a fantastic week, and I'll talk to you on episode 162. Bye-bye. Oh, I forgot, and I just want to say to Grim Kim that I hope she's feeling better, because shingles sucks. I had it back in April on my face, and the pain is excruciating, and everything else that goes with it, all the other symptoms. I hope you're feeling better, and it's not a long-lived thing for you, because I've been there and it's just awful. I wouldn't wish that pain on anybody. That's all. Bye.
Land sakes alive! What happened there in the end? Metal Melody lost her shit.
You are very correct, Metal Melody, because ever since episode 60, you're right. Backrooms has been very divided. There are people that sing its praises like it's the best thing since sliced bread, where there are others that just say it's garbage. I have heard a lot of diverse opinions on this film. So, maybe that's just one that I will wait and see streaming and go from there. It's few and far between when I get to the theater. I really hate to be disappointed. Although the weirdness of it, I could tell right away that I probably like it. Great 70s picks, by the way, as everybody has. You know, there's so many great movies and so much variety in that decade. Like I said, you know, Christopher Lee was still Dracula. You know, but yet you had Texas Chainsaw and you had Halloween. Times were changing, and they were very different. And a lot of art expression was being thrown up on that screen. Wonderful hearing from you every week, Metal Melody, and we hope to hear from you again soon. The 70s was such a diverse cinematic time for all genres. But in the horror world, not only were we able to see Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee still making Hammer Dracula films, but Mel Brooks, the hilarious comedian and filmmaker, made what still stands, in my opinion, as the best movie parody of all time. 1974's Young Frankenstein. Filmed in black and white and using the actual movie props of the OG Frankenstein. Mel comedically spoofs the first 3 Universal Frankenstein films. So well, in fact, that most of my peers don't know if they saw Mel's scene with the monster and the blind man played by Gene Hackman or the original Bride of Frankenstein scene first. If anything, most people can't get through the original Bride of Frankenstein scene without throwing out Mel Brooks' lines from his film. Which brings us to Old Dracula, which was released after Young Frankenstein in 1975. Old Dracula, the original title was Vampira, but because of the success of Young Frankenstein, the title was changed to Old Dracula. Wow, how creative, huh? The only difference was poor writing, a major lack in the creativity department, and humor that was anything but funny. Now, my mom loved Young Frankenstein, and seeing the Old Dracula ad with a tagline that said, "If you liked Young Frankenstein, you'll love Old Dracula." So my mom took 6-year-old Doc Mark to see Old Dracula. David Nevin portrays the Count, and as good and as funny as Nevin can be, not even he can save this strange entry into the many films of Dracula. In order to revive his bride, Vampira, the Count has samples of blood taken from several Playboy models. During the transformation, Vampira's race changes from white to black, much to Dracula's distaste. So he heads to London to find the right model to turn her back to normal. And I put the word normal in air quotes. Offensive? Oh yeah, most definitely. But in 1975, this was apparently acceptable, and probably why you couldn't find this film for the longest time. For those who wish to torture themselves You can see this now on Tubi. And if for nothing else, enjoy the 70s nostalgia. And just keep telling yourself, it's only a movie.
You are listening to Dark Marks Macabre Cast, Episode 161, 1970s Horror.
Goditi questo episodio de Cast Macabre.
Thank you, Maria Monstalia, for telling our Italian friends to enjoy this episode of Macabre Cast. Memories of the 1970s. The AM radio playing both sides now. In my parents' Plymouth Fury as my mom drove me home from the dentist. Waiting to see Evel Knievel on TV jump over anything. Bionic Bigfoot. Walking to the corner store with friends for the first time. Trading Star Wars cards. Watching Star Trek reruns with my dad. Twilight Zone on a little black and white TV in my bedroom at 11 p.m. on a hot summer night. Trying out for Little League. Building a raft to enter the drainage pond to hunt the huge, dreaded snapping turtle. Kick the can right before the streetlights came on. Building forts in the woods. Waiting in line at the cinema all day long with only a chance of seeing the newest horror movie on opening day. Beware the moon. Keep clear of the moors. But most of all, remember, be good to yourself. This is Dark Mark, signing off. See you soon, I hope. This is a Macabre Theater production.
Subscribe.